Thank you for being here tonight. We'd like to call to order the Maricopa City Council regular meeting on Tuesday, April 1st. If you'd all stand, Reverend Jennifer Lower from Maricopa's Journey United Methodist Church will give us the invocation, after which Vice Mayor Farrell will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Will you be in an attitude of prayer with me, please? Gracious God, thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance, and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. We pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular for this assembled council. May you grant them wisdom to govern amidst the conflicting interests and issues of our times, a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, a thirst for justice and compassion, confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony, personal peace in their lives and joy in their task. We pray for the agenda set before them tonight. We ask for your assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around Maricopa. It is in your most blessed name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Can we move to the roll call, please?
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Kudos. Here. Councilwoman Gussie. Here. Councilmember Kimball. Here. Vice Mayor Farrell. Here. Mayor Price.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Well, we will dispense with the April Fool's jokes and move right into the business at hand. Thank you all for being here tonight. Wanted to acknowledge a few people that are here this evening. Former Mayor Tony Smith is here, who is our current Pinal County Supervisor. Give him a round of applause. As well as the Director of Public Health for Pinal County, Tom Schreier. He's here as well. Thank you very much. As is George Hoffman, who's our constable. Thanks, George. At this time, we have a variety of proclamations, and so we're going to go ahead and start with those. Ruben, do you have the microphone for downstairs here? Is this on? Does this work? Everybody here okay? There we go. I know Ruben was turning it up a bit. So the first proclamation actually is for Start by Believing Day, and kind of read this to you here. The City of Maricopa shares a critical concern for victims of sexual violence and a desire to support their need for justice and healing. In 2013, the City of Maricopa Police Department received a total of 52 reports of sexual assault or attempted sexual assault, and the Pinal County Attorney's Office Family Advocacy Center served the needs of over 350 Pinal children and families through crisis intervention. Forensic interviews, medical evaluations, victim advocacy, and other medical legal services. Whereas research estimates that as many as 1 in 6 women and 1 in 33 men will become the victims of sexual assault or attempted sexual assault, yet most victims will not report the crime to law enforcement, and assailants who are not detected by authorities will perpetrate an average of 6 crimes. And wherefore research indicates victims are far more likely to disclose the sexual assault to a friend or family member, and when these loved ones respond with doubt, shame, or blame, victims suffer additional negative physical and psychological harm. And therefore, whereas the Start by Believing awareness campaign seeks to improve the responses of friends, family members, and community professionals so that they can help victims to assess supportive resources and to engage the criminal justice system. So now, therefore, I, Christian Price, the mayor of the city of Maricopa, do hereby proclaim April 1st, 2014 as Start by Believing Day in the city of Maricopa, and call upon the citizens of the city of Maricopa to observe this day by supporting the Start by Believing public awareness campaign. So we want to present this to Jerry here. So the next one is for Relay for Life. Would those of you involved in Relay for Life come on up here, please? Thank you, Nancy. Tanya. All right, so we actually have two for Relay for Life. They're a little different. The first one is Relay for Life is the signature activity of the American Cancer Society and celebrates cancer survivors and caregivers. It remembers loved ones lost to the disease and empowers individuals and communities to fight back against cancer. And whereas money raised during the Relay for Life of Maricopa supports the American Cancer Society's mission of saving lives and creating a world with less cancer and more birthdays by helping people stay well and by helping people get well by finding cures for cancer and by fighting back. Whereas Relay for Life helped fund more than $150 million in cancer research last year, now therefore I, Christian Price, the mayor of the city of Maricopa, do hereby proclaim April 25th through April 27th as Relay for Life Days in the city of Maricopa and encourage citizens to help finish the fight against cancer by participating in the Relay for Life event at Copper Sky Regional Park on April 26, 2014. Let's give them a round of applause. Don't go anywhere. Stay up here. Not quite done. So this one's a twofer, okay? And the reason is that we're going to do a second proclamation in which we would like to paint the town purple as an activity of the American Cancer Society that promotes cancer awareness, gives individuals and communities an opportunity to fight back against the cancer, and whereas monies raised during the Paint the Town Purple of Maricopa supports the American Cancer Society's mission of saving lives and creating a world with less cancer and more birthdays, and helping people stay well and helping people get well by finding cures for cancer and fighting back, the American Cancer Society funded more than $150 million in cancer research last year, and this was money raised throughout communities throughout the United States. Now, therefore, I, Christian Price, mayor of the city of Maricopa, do hereby proclaim April 19th through 27th as the Paint the Town Purple Days in the city of Maricopa and encourage the citizens to help finish the fight against cancer and participate in Paint the Town Purple activities from the 19th through the 27th. So let's all get involved in that. Thank you. Wonderful purple pen that lights up. That's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Presents. So today is the day of proclamations. We have another one. This one is First Things First and the Week of the Young Child. So the First Things First, Pinal Regional Partnership Council and local partner organizations in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of the Young Children are celebrating the Week of the Young Child, April 6th through 12th, 2014. Yes, by all means, please come up. I apologize. Whereas these organizations are working to improve early learning opportunities which are crucial to the growth and development of young children and building a foundation of learning for everyone in Pinal County. And whereas all young children and their families in the state of Arizona and Pinal County deserve access to high-quality early childhood education. And whereas public policies and programs that support early learning for all young children are critical to young children's futures and the success of our community. And whereas teachers and others who make a difference in the lives of young children and families in Pinal County deserve thanks and recognition. Now, therefore, I, Christian Price, the mayor of the city of Maricopa, do hereby proclaim April 6th through 12th as Week of the Young Child in the city of Maricopa and Pinal County, and encourage all citizens to work together to make good investments in early childhood and Pinal County. Thank you. And finally, I'll have Terry come on up. Come on up, everybody come up. So as you may or may not know, these are some of our very valuable police volunteers. And we wanted to let everybody know that also there's a National Volunteer Week going on. So I want to read this to you here. Whereas individuals and communities are at the center of social change, discovering their power to make a difference, and whereas the giving of oneself in service to another through volunteerism empowers the giver and the recipient, and the entire community can inspire, equip, and mobilize people to take action through volunteerism that changes the world, and whereas experience teaches us that government by itself cannot solve all of our nation's social problems. Citizens who volunteer their time provide assistance which cannot be measured in terms of dollars. Volunteers provide a spirit of helping that multiplies in value when each citizen reaches out to assist another. Volunteers throughout the city of Maricopa donate their time to a wide variety of human service programs such as senior services, alcohol and drug rehabilitation, food bank, battered women's shelters, programs for child abuse prevention, maternity and adoption, literacy, homeless youth, and these citizens also donate their time in helping the city of Maricopa through their service on city council boards, committees, and commissions. Whereas the city of Maricopa has many volunteers providing services to the various city departments, including the library, the police, the fire, administration and development services, and during this week, all over the nation, service projects will be performed and volunteers recognized for their commitment to service. So whereas our country's volunteers force of more than 63 million is a great treasure, and volunteers are vital to our future as a caring and productive nation, now I therefore, Christian Price, Mayor of the City of Maricopa, do hereby proclaim the week of April 6th through the 12th, 2014, as National Volunteer Week in the City of Maricopa. And we urge all residents of Maricopa to recognize, support, and commend these special volunteers. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. We appreciate everyone who participated in those. And at this time, we'll move on to item 4, a report from the mayor. I'm going to turn a few moments over to Councilwoman Gussie.
Let's see. Women's History Month. This was March 2014. We kind of missed the ball. It's April Fool's, but nonetheless, we're going to acknowledge it. National Women's History Month's roots go back to March 1857, when women from New York City factories staged a protest over working conditions. There are 161 million females in the U.S. as of December 2013. In case you were wondering, there is 156 million men. 1.6 million number of female veterans in the United States. 77 cents, that's the amount that females year-round full-time workers earned in 2012 for every dollar their male counterparts earned. 63.7% of female citizens 18 years and older reported voting in the 2012 presidential election in comparison to the 59.7% of their male counterparts. Lastly, out of the 189 countries classified by the national parliaments of the world, Rwanda placed first with 63% of women elected officials. Iraq placed number 53 with 25% of women elected officials. And the United States placed 83rd with 18% of women elected in Congress. In honor of Women's History Month, I want to recognize the fact that this city is well represented on the Maricopa Unified School District, with 4 of the 5 board members being women. And I'm honored to be one of the 2 women on the city council. Lastly, I was selected to represent the Women in Municipal Government Board at the National League of Cities Lobby Days in Washington, D.C. this May, so I will return with a report from that. But unfortunately, we missed the ball, this being April 1st, but just wanted to recognize Women's History Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. At this time, during the mayor's report, I have a few things to report to the council and the public. Had the opportunity, obviously, to enjoy the Copper Sky grand opening. I hope each of you have had the opportunity to pass by and see this magnificent facility. There were about 6,000 people there on the first day, and then 2,000 on the Sunday thereafter. We were also able to host the Little League the week after, and the week after that, which was this last weekend, which was Salsa Festival. And so they've been very, very, very busy, our community services staff. So we thank them very much for all that they've done. Had the opportunity also to participate in the police volunteer banquet here this Sunday. We were able to recognize the many police volunteers that helped this city move forward. If I'm not mistaken, I believe we have about 120 police volunteers. We can always use more, and we're always looking for help there. But just so you know, those volunteers, if you calculate them in man hours, equates to about $350,000 saved to the city just from their help alone. So thank you very much to each of you who give so selflessly of your time. I had the opportunity to participate in the Arizona League meeting this week, at which we were given the opportunity, because of some of the good ideas we've had, as to how to help reorganize and reformulate the Arizona League conferences. And so we were able to represent Maricopa there and give some of our ideas, and I think that will help play out very well when we go to the League meeting here this coming August. Also was able to attend IT Still University, which is a magnificent university through the GPEC Ambassadors program. It's in Mesa, and this program allows us to really to bring world-class people here for medical, dental, orthodontics, etc. It's something that I really enjoyed touring, because in doing so, we're able to, you may have never heard of them, but they're known nationwide, and it's something that has only been in the Mesa area for approximately 11 years, and in so doing, it's something that I was able to start discussions on, hopefully maybe attracting some sort of a similar university here to Maricopa, and so it was a good opportunity to participate in that. Also wanted to let you know that we had the opportunity to participate in an I-11 meeting. This I-11 meeting was quite a who's who of Arizona. It was about 20-25 people in a room. It consisted of Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick, Congressman Paul Gosar, Trent Franks, who's also congressman, as well as Congressman Matt Salmon, and the governor. And we were represented there, as well as a few other high-profile landholders and other municipalities, and Supervisor Smith was there. It was a wonderful opportunity to get Maricopa's voice heard in kind of what we're trying to accomplish in bringing the I-11 future freeway through this area. If it goes as planned, it could very well come through the Maricopa planning area and would very much change the dynamic of the city of Maricopa in the future. And so it's something that we want to constantly have a voice at the table. So we appreciate those who have come before and started this, and we want to carry on and consistently be there so that we can have a say in how this future I-11 gets slated and planned out. With that, I think that pretty much concludes my mayor's report, and I'll turn it over to the city manager.
Honorable Mayor and council members, I only had one item I wanted to note tonight. I wanted to recognize the men and women in law enforcement as well as the community. It is an amazing task to be named the 8th safest city in Arizona, and so they are certainly to be applauded for that. No additional items, Your Honor.
Thank you. Before we actually proceed, I did have one other thing. Mix969.com has something called Battle of the Burbs. If you haven't heard about this, we want each person to go on to Mix969.com and vote. We're trying to win something. It's Maricopa against Surprise and Chandler, or excuse me, Maricopa against who, Diane? Gilbert, right, and Chandler against Surprise. And the voting stops tonight, and then the two finalists move on. We're hoping to be one of those. So there's an award after the 8th, on April 8th. So if you'd all go to mix969.com and vote for Maricopa, that would be great. So thank you very much. Before I open call to the public, I would like to turn the time over to Vice Mayor Farrell, at which point we'll then move to the call to the public.
Well, thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, I come before my fellow colleagues up here, the citizens of Maricopa and America, as a humbled and embarrassed man. My Facebook post has caused some great concern, outrage, and hurt among many. I am deeply sorry, and I want to offer my full and humble apology to anyone that I may have hurt or offended. It was not my intent, and please let me explain how this all happened. Last Monday morning, March 24th, before I went to work, I was scrolling through my Facebook page, and I came across a link of an article of a deceased man, Fred Phelps, who, according to the article, led a movement against gay rights. I curiously clicked on this link, not knowing who Fred Phelps was or that the article was written for The Onion, a satirical publication. This struck a nerve with me because just 2 weeks ago, my privacy was violated in Washington, D.C. I was horrified by the experience, and it's still very difficult for me to talk about today. It was with anger in my heart that I posted the link praising him for his movement. It was wrong. I am sorry, and I'm here tonight to ask for your forgiveness. After working all day that day, I got home and I checked my Facebook post. There were several friends and colleagues admonished me for praising this evil and dangerous man. I knew something was wrong, so I Googled Fred Phelps. And as I started reading about this evil and deranged man, it suddenly dawned on me that I had praised this person on Facebook. And I immediately became sick to my stomach. After learning this, I immediately apologized on my Facebook post and took it down. It was an honest, stupid, ignorant mistake, and I deserve all of the criticism and all of the insults that are thrown at me. I am ashamed and embarrassed, and I should have known better. I believe in America. I respect and honor our great armed forces. Our military men and women sacrifice their lives and their families to protect our freedom. Freedom isn't free, and they protect our lives at the price of themselves. And for that, I will forever be grateful. American soldiers are the true heroes of our country. I believe in equality. I believe that every one of us should be able to live the life that we've been chosen to live, as long as it harms no one. Every one of us is unique. And as Americans, we all have the right to express our own individual ways in our own individual possibilities. To all of you who have reached out to me with your doubts, anger, threats, and concerns, I have made a concerted attempt to reply to every single one of you personally. And once again, I want to offer my apology, and it was not intended to offend anyone. To the hundreds of phone calls, text messages, emails, Facebook posts from the people that know me personally, supporting me, and knowing that this was an honest mistake. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm a truly blessed man to have such awesome friends and family. And it's times like this when your true friends really shine upon you. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to come before you tonight and express my regret and my apology as I continue to make amends with this very serious error in judgment. May God bless all of you. May God bless Maricopa. And God, please continue to bless America. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. At this time, we'll move to item 6, which is call to the public. At this point, you may approach the podium. I do have a speaker card for Murray Friesen. If Murray would like to come up, I'd like to have you first, and then anyone else who'd like to participate may follow suit. Again, just by reminder, we typically do not answer in the call to the public. It has not been agendized, so we look forward to listening, but we can't say much in return at this time, but rest assured that we'll do whatever we can to assist and help in appropriate measure. We'll give each person about 3 to 4 minutes, please.
Okay. Honorable Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Murray Friesen. I own a home on West Hillman Drive in Rancho El Dorado. I'm here tonight to ask for your help for a permanent solution to a problem we've been having there for the last just over a year. We have started with this concern at our HOA, who very quickly told us that this issue was way out of their league, and so recommended that I take it up with the council here tonight. And I'd like to bring in some issues to your attention just so that maybe it'll help in finding a resolution to this. I'm currently have owned this property of mine for 2 years. We live in Sacramento and would love to make this our primary home probably in 2015. So we're very concerned about the issue and like to get it resolved so that we could have a peaceful retirement down here. The issue, we've started out here at the, with Marcus Mendez, who is very helpful, who has forwarded our concerns on to Commander James Hughes, who has responded very quickly to us, and we have sent him the issues via email and some pictures we've taken of some of the issues, and he has then said he was going to forward over to his lieutenant, Michael Campbell, who says we'll get back to us. So we appreciate the police. They've really responded very quickly, and we do appreciate it. But so far, the police visits have been temporary solutions. They are not a permanent solution. We want a permanent solution. The issue is that over a year ago, a young man, he basically invited a private property, a vacant private property. He basically took over and said that this is his home now, and he has been a squatter there now for over a year. He enjoys a life that I cannot identify with. It's not the way I was raised many years ago. I came up working hard through my life to earn what I have. This young man, he moves into this home. He gets free electric, he gets water, he gets gas, he gets everything. And now he's got an ad in the paper, he's going to rent out rooms in this house that he doesn't even own. Wow. So
It's quite the entrepreneur.
I'm just wondering, are there no codes or laws that prevent something like this? It's hard to understand how he seems to have more rights than we do as people next door who have to put up with his noise. We have people coming in and out of there during the daytime and more so at nighttime. That's when action really starts. So there's people coming in. He has changed over. He's had roommates, 2 or 3 that I know of that he has roommates, and they change, and I think the police came and got one of them at one time, but he's got a new one now. And now the new guy came along with a dog, and one of the other issues that we have is that the place is being ransacked. I took some pictures when they had the garage door open, and there's at least 5 or 6 doors standing in the garage that have been trashed, totally trashed. The backyard, I took some pictures. They got a big plywood sheet over one of the windows that they bust out one night when they were having a big fight. The pool is a big pool there. It's got about a foot of water, of green water in there. I'm sure the mosquitoes are loving it. So we need to get the health department down there to investigate this place. His immediate neighbor right next door, I live kind of kitty corner across from him, but immediate neighbor who is here tonight, Mr. Fred Henderson, he's gone over there on occasion when the noise has been so loud that he's been concerned what's going on there. But when he got there, he was rudely told to get the heck out of here. But he has heard a lot of stuff that's been going on there. Even from where we are at night, I hear a lot of vulgar, very vulgar language. They have the front window open. A lot of times they don't even use the door to walk in. They use the window to walk in and out of the house. One night I was walking on the opposite side of the street. I wish I had been a little closer, but there was several young people in there. They were coughing their guts out. They were just coughing, and they had hats, and they were trying to move air out of the room, you know, like whatever it was they were doing in there was making them really cough, you know. So we've got some issues there, and I do appreciate it. I'm not saying we don't appreciate the police coming there when we call. They do come, and so I'm encouraged to hear that Lieutenant Campbell is going to get back to us. But the real reason that we wanted to come here tonight is to bring it to your attention, and hopefully, along with the police and whatever else you guys might have come up with, we need a permanent solution to this situation. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Murray. Appreciate it. I have your packet, and I will make sure that the city manager gets it. And I know that there's the Pinal County Health Inspector right there behind you, so he'll give you his card. Very opportune. Thank you very much, Murray. Appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor Price and council members. My name is Dr. Conley, and I'm a member of our community. And today I'm here as a representative for New Beginnings Plus, which is a nonprofit organization. And I wanted to announce to the public that on Saturday, April 5th, we'll be providing a community service. And the community service that we'll be providing, we are offering a free 30-minute reading level screening for all kids, or students, should I say, in 1st through 3rd grade. And this is significant because in 2010, the Arizona Revised Statute, ARS 15-71, established a requirement, and it says that students cannot be promoted to the next grade if they're in 3rd grade if they don't pass that assessment or a successor assessment. So this will be the last year for our AIMS exam. So as a community service, we want to be proactive to make sure that parents are aware of the law and to support our community with opportunities and games, and just help them become more familiar with the public library, because this could be a resource to support them. And I want to conclude by saying this is an opportunity to be proactive, because currently, looking at the recent data from the Arizona Department of Ed, 96% of the students in Maricopa on the Ames 2013 passed the assessment. So with the new assessment, we want to continue with that success. So we're here to provide that community service. Again, that is going to be Saturday, April the 5th, at Maricopa Public Library. We will have a 30-minute informational, probably a PowerPoint presentation to let parents know about the law, and then individual screenings, and then an introduction to our library and the resources. We want to take advantage of the opportunity of summer so we can maintain our learning. So again, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Conley. Rachel.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Rachel LaFall. I live in the Tortosa subdivision, and I'd like to also acknowledge our public safety as far as the good job that they're doing in keeping our city safe. And I'm coming tonight to ask Mayor and Council to please consider a no texting and driving code so that we could continue to have that safe environment here. I noticed that cities like Tucson and Phoenix have implemented such programs, and if we could be a little bit more proactive in that area so that we can try and eliminate some of the many dangers that occur when drivers are texting and driving. So I just wanted to have that as part of a consideration for Mayor and Council, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Mr. Wade.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. First, thank you, Ed. Thank you very much. I'm here to talk to you about a program that I'm a part of with the Chiefs Citizen Advisory Committee. It's called Respect and the Benefit of the Doubt. And basically, the concept is that if law enforcement and youth meet each other on the equal plane, that the situation will be positive for both. On that end, we're planning on having an ice cream social on Saturday, April the 9th, from 12 to 2. It's open. Our target audience are youth between 13 and 21. 21 is not necessarily considered youth, but that's our target audience. But the event is open to everyone who would like to participate. It's an ice cream social, free to the public. It's an opportunity for young people and law enforcement to come together to meet each other in a social, informal setting. And so I'm inviting you, inviting the community to come along as well. And as I said, respect and the benefit of the doubt. The chief has given us some good direction on trying to support the different communities that we represent on the committee, on the council. And this is one of the things that we're going to do.
And that would be again here on the 19th, is that
yes,
correct?
Sir. It'll be right here in the foyer, not inside the council chambers, outside in the foyer, beginning again at 12, running from 12 to 2. And just a point of personal time, if I could, please, I want to thank everyone who missed me Saturday at the Salsa Festival. Many of my friends have said, where were you? Didn't see me, didn't have a booth there. I figure I have until August 26th to sell myself, but I only had one opportunity to serve the community, which is what I did all day Saturday. So thanks to those of you who were looking for me. I was actually passing out chips all day. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Henry. Rich.
Good evening, Mayor Price, City Council members and all. My name is Rich Vitiello, City Council candidate. I would like to express my thanks to Chief Stahl, Lieutenant Campbell, and especially Officer Sean McCasey for the privilege of a ride-along during his shift that day, March 24th. The experience gave me a better perspective on something difficult and dangerous job that our officers have. In addition, I met Officers Evans and McLean and observed them at work as well. Our officers and our department employers need and deserve Sorry, guys. A little nervous today, but we'll get through it. I'm happy that I had the chance to only observe and be a part of the office's daily duties, but also experience the interaction between the public and the officers. It was satisfying to see the officers tend every person and bottom line is, the officers here do a great job. I had a great ride along. Reading this doesn't work for me sometimes. But I have to say, Chief Stahl, you got a great set of officers there. I appreciate the ride along. I can't wait to do another one. Can't wait to do it with the fire department also. And in the future, I hope that all of us, City Council and the public, we all work together and help these guys have a safe job, and so we can be safer too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich. Anyone else? I'll call the public at this time. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the call to the public and move on to the minutes. Can I have an approval for the minutes in 7.1 and 7.2, please?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. This time we have two public hearings. Public hearing 8.1, which is PH 14-03. The Mayor and City Council shall hear public comment on conditional use permit, CUP 14-01, a request by Clear Blue Services on behalf of Sprint Spectrum, a proposal to replace antennas on the existing tower that is owned and operated by Verizon Wireless, the property address being 44870 West Hathaway. If you'd like to speak to this item and this item only, you may approach the podium at this time, please. Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on item 8.1 and open it on 8.2, PH 14-04. Mayor and City Council shall hear public comment regarding the proposed development fees, which serves as the basis for the development impact fees effective August 1st, 2014. At this time, if you have a desire to address the council, you may approach. Yes, Mr. Wade.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, City Council. I just have one quick question in reference to the impact fees. Has there been any survey, has there been any economic opportunity to see the difference between what the impact fees were when we were in our height and where we're going to be when these impact fees come into effect? Has there any work been done along those lines?
Yeah, I actually turned that question more over to Brian and Bob. Just a moment.
Mr. Mayor, Council, we don't have that information presently available, but we can get that for Mr. Wade and present it through City Manager.
Okay. Can you give us a brief rundown then? I mean, this is a public hearing. Brian can address us. Can you give us a brief rundown in these development impact fees? Some of the things that we've recently done, we've gone to the Developers Association, met with them, talked to them about this, and then there's been a change in the law of development impact fees, those types of things. Can you just give us a Reader's Digest, high version here?
Yes, Mayor, City Council, we have gone through basically about the past year, the process. The state changed the law on development impact fees, and it is now required. It's very stringent on what we can collect development impact fees are for. We presented I have a presentation here. Ruben, would you mind putting the presentation up, please? Okay. Well, there we go. So these fees are effective with the state statute. They become effective August 1st of this year. And there's two-step approval for the impact fees. One is the land use assumptions, and then the infrastructure improvement plan, which Council adopted last month. Step 2 is the adoption of the development fees. A draft of this study in the report was presented to Council at a work session on September 17th. and discussed. And then it was also posted on the city's website October 3rd for everybody to take a look at. With that, we emailed it out to the developers, all the city developers and the community, development community for review. And on December 17th, we held a public hearing for the land use assumptions and the infrastructure improvement plan. Just this, on February 4th, we adopted the land use assumption and infrastructure improvement plan, and then with that, the development fees were formal approval process was initiated. On February 18th, we posted on the website a legal notice of indicating that the public hearing for the proposed development fees would be held today, and now we are doing the public hearing. So this process has been in place for about a year, and then on May 6th, we're looking to adopt the proposed development fees. So here's kind of a rundown of where it goes, and after the adoption, we have to wait 75 days before the fees can go into effect, and they need to go into effect by August 1st. So as I mentioned before, these fees, because of the statute, are more stringent than previous development impact fees. They will be used for public safety, for parks and rec. So anything, pretty much it. So
Okay, so Mr. Wade, although not directly in answer to your question, which we said we can get the additional information for, obviously there's been a due diligence process as well. Anything else?
Honorable Mayor,
Yes.
if I could just speak briefly. I'm trying to make sure that I understand Mr. Wade's question. Are you asking for the additional revenues that we will receive from the impact fees as compared to this year?
I'm asking what the difference will be, what we'll actually lose as a result of the change in the impact fees, and how that'll affect our overall municipal budget.
I believe Mr. Goodhue has some information on that. We recently, as you know, met with the Home Builders Association, and I was under the impression that we had estimated those amounts.
I'll be happy to take the information, and if you wanted to put it out to the public afterwards, that's fine with me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Wade.
Mayor, Council, just to answer the question, I was asked what fees we lose. In case of residential, we don't lose any fees. They are going to increase from, I believe, around $4,800 per house to, I believe it's $5,500 per house. So we'll be gaining additional revenue, and those revenues go to life safety, which is police and fire, go to parks and rec, and also a large share goes to building the road infrastructure in the city. So I hope that
Vice Mayor Farrell?
answers the question.
And correct me if I'm wrong, and I might need legal help with this, but when we go through this process, don't we hire a consultant, and the consultant has to prove that these impact fees can either be raised or lowered? It's just not a matter of council decision to raise or lower fees. There's got to be a proven factor. Am I correct or am I wrong?
No, Mayor Price, Vice Mayor Farrell, you're absolutely correct. We hired Tischler Bice, who have a lot of experience in this realm. They've been consultants with a number of cities in the valley. They have a methodology. We've been in discussion with the Home Builders Association, who understands the methodology. They have not voiced any disagreement. I had a meeting with the home builders on fees in general, and they didn't voice any opposition to the proposed fees.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor. And I understand that there is a methodology, having been on the Planning and Zoning Commission, so I do understand that there's a process. But I also understand, and forgive me because I hadn't been involved in the entire process for the entire process, I understand that there was, in fact, a benefit, if you will, to the home builders that we as a community didn't necessarily benefit from the change. And so that was the question. Was that information taken into consideration? And if it was, were we able to benefit from it? If in fact we've gained in the impact fees as a result of the impact fees, then that answers my question that we've in fact gone through the process and it's been a benefit to us. But my understanding is that we had lost, and so I wanted to make sure I had some clarification on that.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other questions or concerns on item 8.2? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearings at this time and move on to section 9, the consent agenda. Remembering that the consent agenda is minus item 9.4. Can I have a motion to approve as amended?
So moved.
Support. Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. At this time, it takes us to the regular agenda, at which point 9.4 is the first item. Councilwoman Gussie.
I'd like to recuse myself. My husband's an employee of Verizon Wireless.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Mayor,
Yes.
move to approve agenda item 9.4.
Second.
Have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item 10.1. It's a resolution, the Mayor and Council, City of Maricopa, supporting the application for the grant section 5311 Rural Transportation Program Grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation through the Arizona Department of Transportation in an amount not to exceed $247,546 and to continue operations of a transit system and authorizing the city manager to sign any further documents. Okay. This is for discussion and action. Is Mary presenting? Are we having any presentation on this? Is there any? It was David. Sorry about that, Mary. Grant, sorry. Lumped y'all in there. Sorry, David, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor Price, council members, ladies and gentlemen. Did you have a specific question, sir?
No, I was just curious if council had any questions. Do you have any questions on this? If not, I think there's support on this, as we had a work session item on it here the week before. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay, item 10.2. Resolution of the Mayor and City Council supporting the application of the grant for Section 5311 Rural Transportation. Pretty much the same thing, but this one boils down to $167,828 to continue operations of a transit system.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to clarify. It was either or, one of these two items, not both. So if you approved one, you don't approve the second. Is that correct, Mary?
Yes, the second one was pertaining to the comment.
Mayor Price, council members, the second agenda item, which is 1412, was offered as an alternative to the first. And the reason there was two agenda items is because we have a pending grant application with ADOT that's got a deadline of April 10th. And in order to meet that deadline, we had to offer one of two alternatives. The second being the fallback if the council did not approve the increase.
I see. Okay. So we've approved the first item, so we need to dismiss or vote down the second item as a matter of policy, just so that we're clear legally. So can I have a motion to disapprove this one? Is that how you work it, or you just vote no on it? You can table it? Okay, even better. Can I have a motion to table, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. So that item is tabled. Thank you. Item 10.3, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council, City of Maricopa, pertaining to the National Flood Insurance Program, adopting a reference revised flood insurance study and flood insurance rate maps and floodplain management regulations, repealing Chapter 15 of the City Code regarding flood damage prevention, providing for the repeal and conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing penalties. Discussion and action. Okay. So again, this was based on the new flood insurance maps that recently came out from FEMA. Is there any further discussion?
Move to approve 10.3.
So we have a motion and a second to approve item 10.3. This is an ordinance, so I need to do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Kimball?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Farrell?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gussie?
Yes.
Councilmember Chapados?
Yes.
Mayor Price?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. And then finally on the agenda tonight is item 10.4. The City Council shall discuss and possibly take action on selecting a method by which to fill the vacancy on the City Council. This item is also for discussion and action. Obviously, we've been through this here fairly recently, but there is a slight difference in the way that this one will take place. So Vanessa, do you want to explain a little bit about that, or should you prefer me to do it?
It's up to you. What did you want me to explain? I'm
Well,
sorry.
as I understand it, based on the resignation, there is a spot open. It took place prior to 30 days before the signatures are due. So therefore, the council has to make an appointment
Right.
to fill a vacancy on the city council until the next election.
That's correct.
And so basically what that does is it creates on this particular ballot this year a mayoral spot, a 3 4-year application process for, 3 4-year slots for council positions, 1 2-year spot for a council position.
That's
And then
correct.
obviously this application process, which would be a 5-month stint from the time in which they're placed into office until the election and the seating takes place in December. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So council has to then decide by which method to fill the vacancy, i.e. the application process. And so council, again, we did this recently, may or may not have liked the application process, but I think it really comes down to nuance as what you would like to see from your applicants. Do you wish to open it up to everybody? It is an election year. There's pros and cons in doing that. If you wish to appoint somebody who's running for council, do you wish to stay away from that and have someone who is not running for council so as not to be seen to influence an election? It's up to you, and so I open it up for discussion.
I'll speak up. Fair.
Yes, Councilwoman Gussie.
I think the circumstances we were in last time around shouldn't make a difference this time around. If an appointment is made, that individual should have the right to run if they so choose to. That's my personal opinion. And I know when we put the applications out, we had asked individuals whether or not they decided whether they were going to run for council. And that was a good question to ask. And I mean, if we put that in the application process this time around, it's a good question for us to ask and know ahead of time. But I don't think we should do it any differently than the way we did it before.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman Gussie. Who else? Councilwoman Chapados.
One question for Vanessa or Dennis. Am I to understand that if somebody currently that has pulled a packet intending to run for the 4-year slot, they would have to pull a separate packet for the 2-year slot, or can they just change the wording?
No, everything stays the same except the petition. They will need to pick up a new petition that specifically states that this is for a 2-year term, because
Okay.
their name will appear separately on the ballot.
Okay. Yeah, I concur with Councilwoman Gussie. I think the process should be open, and those that are interested in it have a lot of choices to make this time around. I wouldn't want to penalize anybody or, limit somebody's opportunities. A 2-year position might be just what would be right for somebody at this point in time.
Okay, but just by way of clarification, we are not selecting a 2-year position. We're selecting a 5-month application. And so if somebody decides to run for the 2-year position or the 3-year position, then...
4-year position.
Or, excuse me, the 4-year position, I apologize. Yeah, the 3 4-year positions or the 2-year position, what we are deciding on is if that's acceptable to us to allow that for an application for a 5-month temporary appointment. 5, 6, somewhere in there.
Yeah, until December when the new council's sworn
Correct.
in. Yeah, I would support that.
Okay. Yes, Vice Mayor.
What do we, now, for the people that have pulled packets for the 3 4-year positions, can the council make it, and I'm talking to legal here, can the council decide whether those people that have pulled packets can also run for this 5-month position, or can the council decide that if you've pulled a packet, you cannot apply for this 5-month position? Or are we even at liberty to make those kind of decisions?
Council can put that stipulation on with regard to the appointment, what the qualifications are going to be and what the requirements are going to be for the appointment of the 5-month position.
Okay. 'Cause a part of me, thinks that maybe we should stip that to where if you've pulled your packet, then you can't run for this 5-month position. But then a part of me says, well, if you didn't pull a packet and you're all of a sudden interested in this 5-month position, why didn't you pull the packet? You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I suspect to have pulled the packet for the full 4 years. Had no idea what would result as far as our previous colleague resigning. That's what's caused the dilemma. I would think, though, that if someone is interested in fulfilling the 5 months, that gives them, if we're going to allow them to also run for 4 years, that gives them a decided advantage. If they're in just for the 5 months, already they have that 5-month recognition, then they run for the 4 years. That's a decided advantage against the others. So I would think that, to be fair, we should stipulate that person is appointed for the 5 months. That's it.
That's what we can do.
And, I'm sorry, that's it, meaning they can't run for the 2-year or the 4-year?
That's right.
Well, because
They
in part, depending on when you seat them, if you were to say, we have an application process out and we're seating them after the signatures are due for any of those positions, which would be the 4-year or the 2-year, if you seated them as a council member after that, so what's that due date, the 26th?
28th.
May 28th. So May 28th, then you could guarantee that they weren't running for one of those positions. So you could stipulate that. Councilman Kimball?
You just said it exactly like I was going to say, and I want to echo what Councilman Brown had said in regards to having an advantage. Should council up here, we appoint one person and then they decide that they're going to run, they would technically almost be considered an incumbent and have an advantage. And I don't find that to be fair for the people that have already pulled packets and are actively campaigning. So I would agree with the stipulation that we would seat that person after the filing deadline for the people who have already pulled packets or will pull packets to submit for either of those terms.
And then that person that we appoint cannot run for an election?
Well, because they would have been seated after the filing deadline. So yes, just like the mayor had said.
Cool with that.
Question?
Yeah. Yes.
What happens if we don't get anybody that wants to do that?
Would you stop throwing a monkey wrench in it? We're working this out.
Well, no, I mean, it could be an advantage or it could be a disadvantage. I mean, if somebody's brand new to the system, a 5 to 6 month learning curve is pretty standard. Thinking about the possibility that could be 4 new people on council, that's quite a change in terms of, bringing people up to speed and anybody with experience. I can see both pros and cons to that.
Well,
it's happened before.
Sorry?
It's happened before.
It has.
Yeah.
It has.
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Councilwoman Gussie.
In turn, someone could say that we gave our colleague Peggy Chapados an advantage also, because we appointed her not so long ago. So I still think, to play it fair, it should be open to both. I did have another question for legal. Can an individual that's running for the 4-year also run for the 2-year seat?
No, you can't
it's
run
either
for 2
or.
positions. Yeah,
Okay.
you have to decide.
Even though it's a council member, it's a definitive time difference, therefore it's considered a different office.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay. Yes.
I'd like to just make a comment in regards to what Councilwoman Chapados had said. There is a learning curve when you join council, and it's not 2 weeks or a couple days. It depends on the person, but for most, and I think my colleagues would agree, that it's a couple months before you get in your groove and get going. That being said, should we go through the appointment process and we say, we're trying to be fair and let everybody do it, someone decides to to go for the appointment, get appointed, and run for office at the same exact time while trying to learn council procedure and policy, I think is really tough. That's my personal opinion. But that being said, I will divert back to what you had said originally in regards to it could potentially look like we are influencing an election, which is why I will stand with what I said previously and to supporting only that of seating them after the filing deadline.
Dennis, I have a question for you. If there's somebody currently that's a candidate, has pulled a packet and is in the process of getting signatures, if they decide to go for this appointment process, then that would basically eliminate them from the race if we decide to do that, correct? We put that stipulation in it?
Right. If that's the stipulation that council says you can't run for the office, they'd have to stop their petitions.
Vice Mayor?
Dennis, you know, this position is only for 5 months, and Councilmember Chapados made a great point. 5 months is just a learning curve, and it's going to take somebody 5 months just to learn and get caught up with what's going on. Could we stip this appointment to say that maybe we want to appoint somebody for 5 months from the Planning and Zoning Commission just to fill this seat for 5 months, or do we have to open it up to the public?
No, it's council's decision how they want to go forward. I mean, you don't have to take applications if you didn't want to. Council has a lot of discretion when they fill a vacant seat.
I'm curious as to why just P&Z?
Well, because everything comes before them before it comes to us, so they're pretty caught up on
There's
the
a
current
natural
events,
flow.
on what goes on. So it would make a current flow for somebody to fill this seat. Talking about that curve, that 5 months curve to learn to get caught up. The planning and zoning should be caught up on what's going on because everything comes to them right before it comes to us. So somebody sitting in that seat would already be familiar with everything that's happening on the council agendas.
The only major exception I would see to that is the budget. And we're going to be approving a budget in early June, assuming they have a brand new person on there. Just bringing somebody up to speed on the budget alone is a significant task. I don't think I would be in favor of just narrowing the choices to P&Z Commission, because we've got a couple people on that commission right now that are candidates or thinking about being candidates that we may lose anyway. So you're talking about the possibility of maybe having to replace 2 or 3 members based on other issues that are going on in that committee right now.
Well, at the new election, all the members are going to get replaced anyway.
Right, but that's still,
It'll be a moot point come
if we're
election
sworn in December, we're not going to probably do anything until January, February at the earliest.
And Vice Mayor, what if the members of the Planning and Zoning Commission don't want to apply for the appointment? And we've just, shot ourselves kind of.
It was just a thought.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've got some qualified people across the board on BCCs, so.
Councilwoman Gussie?
Do we have to fill the position?
I believe so.
Shall.
Because it's the 30-day before the deadline to submit the nomination petitions. If this would have happened between April 28th and May 28th, then no, you didn't have to fill it, or after May 28th.
In both the city code and the Arizona state statute says council shall fill the position, so there's no discretion.
It just doesn't specify how, and that's why we're discussing this tonight.
I think, I totally understand Councilman Gussie's position on, opening it up to everybody and being fair, but at the same time, I really don't want to be seen as influencing an election. I mean, we are so close to turning in, signature petitions, and that person sits up here, they're televised. I agree with Councilman Kimball, you're seen as an incumbent. Councilwoman Chapados's appointment was 2 years full sitting on the council, not 2 months before signatures are due, and so I just really hesitate that, it is true that we're a council and we're not judges. Sometimes we act like that, and I think that we maybe need to be looking at some sort of sense of impartiality, if at all possible. And I think if I was a candidate and I wasn't the one selected, I might be a little upset. And that's just the way life is sometimes. But again, I think that we're trying to treat all the candidates fairly, and so I'm not sure we really want to go down that path. In my opinion, I think that keeping that transparency of saying, well, we're going to create a stipulation, and we're going to. If they're running for council, they pull the packet, and then just to guarantee it, we seat them afterwards so that we can guarantee that they haven't pulled the packet and gotten signatures by being seated after May 28th. Then, it becomes a lot more hands-off in, from the influencing of an election standpoint. Just my 2 cents.
May I have a question?
Yes.
Vanessa, the last time we did this, reading through the staff report, it was a 2-week window for applications to be received. And then how soon after that was the special meeting?
It was a 2-week window, and it closed, I believe, August 31st. And then there was another meeting to do
Because I know, I remember I
And
was
in
appointed
or
November 19th.
October 30th, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
October 30th, and then the meeting was November 16th,
November 19th.
19th, when you were appointed.
So if that, would we follow that same schedule this time around?
I'm sorry?
Would we follow that schedule this time around as
It's
well?
up to council. That's what we're discussing here tonight. You can open it up if you want to open it up for as long as you want, and then ask the questions that were asked in 2012 are presented here before you, so that we don't have to submit them again. We presented them to you. Previously, we had a meeting on when to open up the window. It opened up for 2 weeks. We came back in 2 weeks. Then you decided on the questions, and then we came back. So today I'm bringing everything to you, the application, the questions from 2012, to see if you would like to use them again, if you wanted to go the application route. But it's totally up to you. You can open it up for as long as you want, use an application if you want, just interview on the fly. It's up to you.
So I'm sorry, there's a possibility that our appointment wouldn't happen until after the close of the nomination petition filing, correct?
There's
May
a
28th.
possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's set how we stipulate it.
Right.
So even if you selected a person May 1st and they didn't seat until June 1st, well, there you go. You'd have a guarantee that they hadn't pulled a packet because you've set the stipulation as to when they will be seated.
Okay.
Councilwoman Gussie.
I'm not certain, Peggy, can you correct me? When you submitted your application, did you say that you were going to run or that you were not going to run?
During the question and answer, I didn't think I was going to, but I said I would keep my options open.
Okay. I still stand by leaving that question there. The 5 of us were elected to make these difficult decisions. When we get those applications back, that question is there. If an individual states that they will be running, that's a decision that we all would make. Whether we move them forward or not. So I still think, in all fairness, since we did this not so long ago, I understand that it's been 2 years since you've been seated here, but at the same time, in all fairness, it needs to be open to everyone. So if we were to put that question on the application and they say they will run, they will not run, that's a decision that we all make. The 5 of us here were elected to make those difficult decisions. So as making those decisions, we should take everyone into full consideration whether or not they want to fill those 5 seats. Like you said, that learning curve is difficult, and I learned it myself. It is very difficult. Even though I worked for planning and zoning, I worked for the city, it was difficult. So you're right, it isn't, we might be perceived as an unfair advantage, but at the same time, that's a decision we would make whether or not to move them forward if that question is on the application.
Mayor?
Yes.
I have a question for the Vice Mayor. The last time there was an appointment process prior to me, was the basic reason to stipulate the appointed candidate could not run for office because of the perception of an advantage? Or were there other circumstances that were applicable?
Ooh, she's tested my memory, man. Was Estes the last appointment? Yeah, well, and I know that former mayor, sir, but I don't want to call on that former mayor because he's still a little upset with me because he didn't get that appointment at that time. So I'm just gonna not even go there.
Vice Mayor, it was after that. We're talking about the appointment of, I think, Councilmember Paulson.
Yeah, and when we appointed Paulson, if I'm not mistaken, he was appointed for just about 4 or 5 months on the stipulation that he was not going to run for election.
Yes. Right, that's correct. The mayor agrees with me, or the former mayor agrees with me.
So I guess the only thing I would ask council, and this is just part of the job, but if we were to go down the path that Councilman Gussie suggested, which I don't disagree with. I mean, opening it up for everybody is the fairest of things to do, looking at it from a 10,000-foot level. However, at the same time, you said it to me earlier that we have 14 people that have pulled for council packets. I think we had 14 people, apply when Councilwoman Chapados was appointed. So we might as well double that and have, some 28, 30 people that will be interviewing, because you can pretty much guarantee that all of those people that are running now will be applying for the seat. Is that something that you want to do?
I don't think so.
I just think, but why wouldn't they? If they're running for council, why wouldn't they want to get the advantage of having a head start?
And I think that's why I'm all for opening it up to everybody, like Councilman Gussie says. But I think there should be a stip in the application that says that they can't run for election, just like we did with Dallas Paulson.
Is that what you're suggesting, Councilwoman Gussie?
No,
She's not suggesting that, but that's, to me, I would support what Vice Mayor is saying. There has to be that stipulation.
Okay.
By that time, you're going to know, I mean, 12, 13 people pulled packets, and if those 13 people put in their application for appointment, then you're going to know, I mean, that's a given, right? But at the same time, I just find it hard for us, we would be making the appointment, correct?
Right.
So why wouldn't we consider all our options? Why are we going to be, for this individual that wants to get this 5-month appointment, it's too short of, it just doesn't make any sense to me not to open it to everyone. But at the same time, if everyone agrees that we should limit it to just those people that will not be running for office, then I'll go with that too.
And I'm all for opening it to everyone, but I think the stip needs to be in there that they don't plan on running for election to apply for this appointment, just like we did with Dallas.
And so Dallas didn't run in the election after?
And was that election just a standard 3 seats open?
So,
But according to the information, he couldn't anyways because he had passed that deadline, right?
Now that I don't know. I just know that he couldn't run for election.
I'm told that the deadline had passed when he was appointed.
So if we set the stipulation that you can't run, then the only way to be assured that that person is not going to run, regardless of what they tell you from out there, is to set the seating date after the fact.
Yes.
So after, approximately June, plus or minus. So that would have to be a secondary stipulation in this process if we're in agreement with that.
So that in itself, those who are interested in 4-year terms are not going to apply.
For a 2-year. Correct.
You'd eliminate them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it seems like there's a majority of council here that's wanting to go with that you can't run, right? The stipulation is you can't run if you want to apply for the 5-month position, and that to guarantee that the seating date will be after the turn-in date for signatures. Is that what I'm hearing from the majority of council?
Yes.
Yes, Councilwoman Chapados.
Yeah, now that you guys have explained it that way, that does make sense. So I'm going to take a stab at this. I move to approve that the appointment to council to fill the current vacancy go through a similar process as was done in 2012, with also the stipulations that the candidate that applies for the appointment cannot be a candidate for the council seat of 4 years or 2 years, and that the seating and swearing in of that appointed council member will happen after June 1st.
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there further discussion on the item?
Yes.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
In her motion, should it be a time limit on the application process?
And that's, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, that's exactly what we were talking about. I think it might be easiest for council just to vote this one, and then let's talk about how long you want to keep the applications open.
Is that agenda size like that?
Pardon me?
Can we discuss
Well,
it like that?
I think we have some flexibility here because it's talking about setting the rules for how we're going to appoint this position. So I think it's okay. I think Councilwoman Chapados' motion is fine. Since it's on the table and it's been seconded, I think we can vote it, but then we can talk about and vote on how long you want the applications open. If you think it's a quick amendment to her motion, we could do that right now too.
Well, my only question is, can you approve 2 motions on one agenda item?
Well, I think here we're trying to decide how to go forward to appoint this position. I don't think we're limited to one vote, one agenda item on something like this. I think we're trying to set the ground rules for how we want to go forward. If you know right now that you want to open the applications today and have them all filed by May 1st and then do the interview at the second meeting in May, if that sounds good to council, we can amend the motion and put it in.
When is the deadline, Vanessa?
May 28th.
So we have to appoint them after May 28th, so like the first meeting in June?
I said after June 1st in my motion, so.
Okay.
But you could make the selection prior to,
Right.
and just not do the swearing
Right.
in until after.
You can swear them in on the first meeting in June.
So do you need an amended motion then?
It's our
Yes,
choice.
if that's how council wants to proceed. If you want to keep the applications open till the May 1st, and then you'll interview them at the second meeting in May, and the appointment will be for the first meeting in June. If someone wants to amend the motion, we can do that.
But I'm not sure you want to do the interviews at the second meeting in June. I mean, that's a council meeting. We had a special meeting that we just did interviews. So I think you kind of want to leave that out and leave that open to the flexibility and availability of both people as well as the council members and the city staff. So that's fine if we leave it open for a month for applications, but leave the date out as to selection. Just sometime in the month of May, the selection will be made and interviews will take place.
Right, and that could depend on how many applications we get.
Right. Okay. So are you willing, you made that second, is that correct?
Yes.
If she amends, are you willing to?
I'll accept.
Okay. So would you like to amend the motion? I don't know, you don't have to go through everything again, but just add that secondary portion that basically states that they'll be seated, you've already said they'll be seated after July 1st, but that the application period will be open for a month. So from April 1st, which is today, till May 1st.
Okay, the application period from April 1st through May 1st. The special meeting appointment happens sometime during the month of May, and the seating and swearing in after June 1st.
So that's the motion, an amended motion, Councilmember Brown?
I accept that.
So that's the second. We have a second on the amended motion. Is there any further discussion on the amended motion or the motion? No? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. And that concludes our meeting for today. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Can I have a motion to
So
close?
moved.
Motion. Is there a second? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.